The pastor's daughter in love with a rebel. Episode 1. What happens when a pastor's daughter falls for the one boy her family swore she must never love? In the streets of Lagos, Adeobi's heart beats for a rebel, and one mistake could cost her everything. Adana had always been known as the perfect daughter, quiet, obedient, and devoted to her father's church. People in the congregation often whispered about how lucky Pastor Emmanuel was to have such a godly child. But inside, Adana felt suffocated. Her life mapped out by rules she didn't create. That was why her heart skipped when she noticed Emeka at the back of the church one Sunday, tall, brooding, and carrying an energy that didn't belong in a holy place. He wasn't bowing his head in prayer. Instead, he watched her with a daring curiosity that unsettled her spirit. Emeka was the kind of boy everyone warned her about. He rode motorbikes through the village streets, his laughter loud, his reputation darker than the leather jacket he always wore. Parents said he was a bad influence, a rebel who lived without respect for tradition. But Adana found herself sneaking glances at him whenever he appeared. Something about his presence stirred a restlessness in her, the kind that made her wonder if there was more to life than Bible study and choir rehearsals. One evening, on her way home from choir practice, Adana found Emeka leaning casually against his motorbike, waiting under the streetlight. Her first instinct was to avoid him, but her feet betrayed her, slowing as she approached. "Pastor's daughter," he teased with a smirk. "Don't be afraid. I don't bite." His tone was mocking, but his eyes held a softness she didn't expect. Adana hesitated, torn between running and staying. Emeka's boldness intrigued her. He asked questions no one else dared. "Do you ever want to escape? To live your own life?" The words made her pulse quicken. Nobody had ever spoken to her like that. That night she replayed his voice in her mind long after she should have been asleep. For the first time, she felt like someone saw her beyond the label of pastor's daughter. Her father, Pastor Emmanuel, began to notice the distant look in her eyes. "Adana," he cautioned during family devotion, "the world outside these walls is full of wolves. You must stay focused on God's calling." She nodded obediently, but guilt pricked her heart. If her father knew the kind of thoughts she entertained about a boy like Emeka, he would never forgive her. The next time they met, Emeka offered her a ride home on his motorbike. Her heart hammered as she climbed on, her hands trembling as they wrapped around his waist. The wind against her face felt like freedom she had never known. For those few minutes, she wasn't Pastor Emmanuel's daughter, she was just Adana, alive and reckless, holding on to someone who defied the rules of her world. Rumors spread quickly. Someone had seen Adana near Emeka's bike, and whispers began to circulate in the church. Mothers clutched their daughters tighter, warning them never to follow her example. Pastor Emmanuel, sensing the tension, grew stricter with her. "You will not bring shame to this family," he thundered. His words felt like chains, but Adana's longing for Emeka only deepened. Determined to see him again, Adana sneaked out after evening prayers, meeting Emeka by the old football field. The night sky stretched above them, dotted with stars, as he handed her a packet of roasted groundnuts. "You deserve to smile," he said simply. And for the first time in weeks, Adana laughed freely, forgetting the heavy expectations tied to her name. Their conversations grew longer, filled with dreams of running away and building a life where no one could control them. One night, Emeka brushed his fingers against hers, a touch so simple yet so powerful it made her entire body tremble. She knew it was wrong. She knew her father would call it sin. But in that moment, it felt like the purest thing she had ever experienced. It wasn't long before Pastor Emmanuel found out. A church member had spotted them together, and the news reached him like fire. His face darkened with rage as he confronted her. "Adana, do you want to destroy everything I've built?" Her lips trembled, but her heart screamed with defiance. For the first time in her life, She wasn't sure obedience was the answer. Adana cried herself to sleep that night. She loved her father, respected his sacrifices, but she couldn't ignore the way Emeka made her feel alive, seen, and free. Was it possible to love both God and the rebel? Emeka too was torn. He wanted to fight for her, but deep down, he feared he could never be enough for the daughter of a pastor. Standing in church the next Sunday, Adana's eyes swept across the crowd until they met Emeka's, lingering defiantly at the back. Her father's sermon about avoiding temptation felt like it was directed solely at her. She took a deep breath, her heart pounding with both fear and resolve. This was only the beginning. Sooner or later, she would have to choose between duty and desire, faith and freedom. If you want to know how far Adalbi will go for love, don't miss the next episode. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and share this story with a friend who loves drama and forbidden romance.